know that sounds like an exaggeration. I know it sounds like the kind of thing a man says to sound wise. But I've tested it against the lives of people who succeeded and people who struggled. And the pattern is so consistent, it stopped surprising me a long time ago. The people who built something lasting, almost all, had one thing in common, and it wasn't talent, and it wasn't luck, and it wasn't some head start the rest of us didn't get. It was that they had a grip on their mornings. They owned the first hour. They didn't let the day happen to them. They happened to the day. And the people who struggled, who felt like they were always behind, always reacting, always running to catch up with a life that seemed to be getting away from them, almost all of them had lost their mornings without even noticing they'd lost them. Because here's the thing about a morning. It doesn't announce its importance. It doesn't feel decisive. It's just an hour, one of 24, and it slips by so quietly that most people never stop to consider what happened to it. You wake up, and before you've fully surfaced, before your feet have even touched the floor, the demands are already lining up. The obligations, the messages, the list of things somebody else needs from you. And you meet those demands the way a man meets a tide, standing there, letting it wash over him, reacting to whatever comes next. And by the time your mind is fully awake, the hour is gone, and something more valuable than the hour is gone with it. What's gone is the one stretch of the day when you had the clearest access to yourself. Because the morning mind is different from the afternoon mind. Anyone who's paid attention knows this. In the morning, before the noise gets loud, before the fatigue sets in, before 100 small frustrations have chipped away at your patience, your mind is quiet in a way it won't be again for the rest of the day. It's rested. It's uncluttered. It hasn't yet been pulled in 40 directions, and that quiet is not an accident. That quiet is a resource, maybe the most valuable resource you have, and most people spend it the way a careless heir spends an inheritance, without ever understanding what they were handed. Now, let me be clear about what I'm not saying, because I don't want you to misunderstand me. I'm not telling you that there's something magical about a particular hour on the clock. I'm not telling you that success is hidden in the sunrise, and if you just get up earlier, you'd finally arrive. That's the kind of shallow advice that gets passed around, and it misses the point entirely. The point isn't the clock. The point is the principle underneath the clock, and the principle is this: whatever you do first, you are training yourself to do. Whatever you give your freshest attention to, you are declaring to be most important. And most people, without ever deciding to, have declared that the most important thing in their life is responding to whatever interrupts them. Think about that. If the first thing you do every morning is reach for the demands of other people, you are training yourself day after day to be a person who lives in response to others. You're not building, you're not choosing, you're answering. And a life spent answering is a life spent on the terms set by everyone except you. You become skilled at reaction. You become fast at putting out fires. You become impressive even at handling whatever gets thrown your way. But you never get around to the one thing that was actually yours, because the thing that's actually yours never shows up as an interruption. It never demands your attention. It waits patiently, quietly, in the space you never give it. That's the tragedy I've watched play out again and again. Good people, capable people, people with real gifts, spending decade after decade being excellent at everything except the thing that mattered most to them. And when you ask them why, they'll tell you they never had the time. But that's not quite true, is it? They had the time. They had it every single morning. They just gave it away before they were awake enough to know they were giving it away. And you cannot build a meaningful life out of the leftover hours, the tired hours, the hours you get to after everyone else has taken their portion. The leftover hours are for maintenance, not for creation. And a life of pure maintenance is a life that slowly grinds a person down without ever moving them forward. So here's what I want you to understand about the connection between a morning and a year, because this is where the real leverage is. And I chose that word carefully, even though I know it gets overused. A year is not a single thing. A year is a collection of days, and a day is not a single thing either. A day takes its character from how it begins. Get the beginning right, and the momentum of that beginning carries through the hours that follow. Get the beginning wrong, and you spend the whole day trying to recover something you lost before 9 o'clock. And a year is simply that pattern, repeated. 365 beginnings, each one either claimed or surrendered. You don't build a year by planning a year. You build a year by winning the first battle of each day, and the first battle of each day is fought in the first hour. This is why I tell people to stop worrying so much about the big picture and start worrying about the first hour. Not because the big picture doesn't matter. It matters enormously. But the big picture is not where the work gets done. The big picture is a destination. And you don't reach a destination by staring at it. You reach it by the accumulation of steps. And the most important step, the one that sets the direction for all the others, is the first one you take each day. Win that step, and the rest tend to follow. Lose that step, and you spend the day walking crooked, correcting, apologizing to yourself, promising that tomorrow will be different. And tomorrow arrives, and the alarm goes off, and the tide comes in, and you meet it the same way you met it yesterday. Now, I want to talk about what actually happens in the mind of a person who has surrendered their mornings, because I think it's worth understanding the mechanism, not just the symptom. When you begin your day by reacting, you set your nervous system to a particular frequency, and that frequency stays with you. You start the day in a posture of defense. Something needs handling. Something is wrong. Something requires your immediate response. And your body responds to that the way it's built to respond, with a small surge of urgency, a tightening, a readiness to react. Do that once, and it's nothing. Do that every morning for years, and you have trained your entire system to live in a state of low, constant alarm. You've taught yourself that the world is a series of things coming at you, and your job is to bat them away as fast as they arrive. And a person living in that state can never really think, not deeply, not creatively, not in the slow, patient way that big ideas require. Because deep thought needs safety. It needs the absence of alarm. It needs a mind that isn't braced for the next demand. You cannot solve the important problems of your life in a state of reaction, because the important problems don't yield to reaction. They yield to reflection. They yield to a mind that has room to wander, to connect, to sit with a difficult question long enough for an answer to surface. And that room only exists when you've protected it. It doesn't appear on its own. The moment you leave a gap in your day, the world rushes in to fill it. And the world is not interested in your deepest work. The world is interested in its own demands. So the guarding of a morning is not a matter of scheduling. It's a matter of psychology. It's the difference between beginning the day as the author of it and beginning the day as the subject of it. And I want you to feel the weight of that distinction, because it's not small. The author decides what the story is about. The subject just experiences whatever the story does to them. And every single morning, before you're even fully conscious of it, you are choosing which one you'll be that day. Most people choose subject, not because they want to, but because they never realized there was a choice. They think the morning belongs to the demands. They think the interruptions have first claim. And so they hand over the pen day after day. And then they wonder why the story they're living doesn't look like the one they wanted to write. Let me tell you about a young man I knew a long time ago, because I think his story shows this better than any principle I could state. He was talented, genuinely talented. He had ideas that were better than most of what I saw in men twice his age, and he was ambitious too. He wanted to build something of his own, but he had a habit that undid him, and it undid him so quietly that he never once connected the cause to the effect. Every morning, the first thing he did was open himself up to the demands of his job before he'd done a single thing for himself. He justified it. He said it made him responsible. He said it showed he was on top of things, and he was on top of things. He was the most responsive person anyone knew. If you needed him, he was there instantly at any hour. And year after year, he stayed exactly where he was. His own ideas, the ones that were better than everyone else's, never got built. Not because he lacked the ability, because he never gave them a rested mind. He gave his rested mind to other people's problems, and he brought his exhausted mind home to his own. The last time I spoke with him, he was older, and he said something that has stayed with me ever since. He said, "I was always so busy being useful to everyone else that I never got around to being useful to myself." And he wasn't bitter when he said it. He was just tired. He'd spent his best hours, thousands of best hours, on things that mattered to others and did nothing to move him toward the thing that mattered to him. And the sum of those thousands of mornings was a life he hadn't chosen. So let's talk about what it actually means to guard a morning. Because I don't want to leave this as a nice idea. I want you to walk out of here able to do something. And guarding a morning starts with a decision that feels almost selfish at first, and it's this. The first portion of the day belongs to you before it belongs to anyone else, not the whole day. I'm not asking you to become a hermit. The world has legitimate claims on you, and you have obligations you should honor. But the first portion, that first stretch, when your mind is at its clearest and most rested, that portion is not for the world. That portion is for the work that only you can do, the thinking that only you can think, the building that no one else will build if you don't. And you defend that portion the way you defend anything precious, which is to say you defend it before the threat arrives, not after. Because here's the truth about protection. You cannot protect something in the moment of attack. If you wait until the demands are already pulling at you to decide how you'll respond, you've already lost. The decision has to be made in advance, in calm, when nothing is pulling at you. You decide once clearly that the first hour is not available. And then when the demands come, and they will come, you don't have to have the argument with yourself, because the argument was settled long ago. This is the same principle that governs everything difficult in life. The decisions that hold are the ones made ahead of time, in a clear moment, not the ones you try to make in the heat of pressure with your resolve already weakening. Guard the morning by deciding about it once, firmly, so you don't have to defend it 100 times a day. Now, some of you are thinking that your situation is different. You're thinking that you have people who depend on you, obligations that can't wait, a life that doesn't allow for the luxury of a protected hour. And I want to take that seriously, because I don't think you're wrong about your obligations. But I think you might be wrong about what an hour requires. Because guarding a morning doesn't mean you need a mansion and total silence and no responsibilities. Guarding a morning means claiming whatever first stretch of time you can genuinely call your own, even if it's small, and treating that stretch as sacred. It might be 30 minutes. It might be 20. The size matters far less than the principle, because the principle is what compounds. A protected 20 minutes, done every day, will build more over a year than a wished-for 2 hours that never actually happens. And I've watched people transform their entire lives on 20 minutes. Not because 20 minutes is a lot of time, but because those 20 minutes were the right minutes, the rested minutes, the minutes given to the most important thing before the day could steal them. A man who spends 20 minutes every morning on the thing that matters most to him is a different man from the one who spends 2 hours on it in the evening, exhausted, distracted, running on the last of his energy. The evening man is giving his cause his scraps. The morning man is giving his cause his best. And over a year, the difference between someone's best and someone's scraps is not a small difference. It's the difference between a life that moves and a life that stalls. Here's a question I want you to sit with, because I think most people have never asked it honestly. What is the first thing you touch each day? Not metaphorically, literally. When you wake, what is the first object, the first task, the first voice that gets your attention? Because whatever it is, you have made it the master of your morning, and by extension, the master of a significant portion of your life. If the first thing you touch is a list of demands, then demands are your master. If the first thing you touch is other people's expectations, then other people are your master. And I'm not saying those things are unimportant. I'm saying that whatever you put first, you have crowned, and most people have crowned things they would never consciously choose to rule over them. Now compare that to the person who has decided that the first thing they touch each day is their own purpose. The first thing they give their attention to is the direction they've chosen, not the demands, not the interruptions, the thing that matters most. That person has crowned their purpose. They've declared through action, not through words, that their own chosen direction sits at the head of the table, and everything else has to wait its turn. And because they've done that first, when they was rested and clear, everything that follows takes its proper place. The demands still get handled. The obligations still get met. But they get met by a person who has already served the most important thing. And there's a steadiness in that person that you can feel from across a room. I want to talk now about what a protected morning does to a person's sense of themselves, because this is the part that most people never anticipate. And it might be the most valuable part of all. When you begin your day by serving what matters most to you, you send yourself a message. The message is this: I am a person who honors my own priorities. I am a person who does not abandon what matters to me at the first sign of pressure. I am a person I can trust. And that message, delivered day after day, morning after morning, builds something inside you that no external achievement can build. It builds self-respect, not the shallow kind that comes from other people's approval, but the deep kind that comes from keeping your promises to yourself. And most people are starving for exactly that, though they'd never put it in those words. They feel a low, persistent dissatisfaction with themselves, a sense that they're not quite living up to who they could be, and they don't understand where it comes from. It comes from 1,000 small betrayals. Every morning you intended to work on your dream and didn't. Every morning you said you'd take care of yourself and instead took care of everything else. Every morning the tide came in and you let it wash away the thing you swore mattered to you. Those betrayals are small. Each one on its own is nothing, but they accumulate. And what they accumulate into is a person who no longer trusts their own word. And a person who doesn't trust their own word can't build anything, because everything you build requires you to believe that you'll show up tomorrow to keep building it. So a guarded morning is, in a very real sense, an act of self-trust. Every morning you keep the promise. You deposit something into an account that most people run dry. And the balance in that account is what allows you to attempt bigger things. Because a person who has proven to themselves again and again that they show up for what matters, that person can take on a large ambition without being terrified by it. They've got the track record. They've got the evidence. They know from 1,000 small mornings that they are the kind of person who does the thing. And that knowledge is worth more than any strategy, because strategies only work if you actually execute them. And execution is exactly the thing that self-trust makes possible. Now I want to warn you about something, because I've seen this trip up even people who understand everything I've said so far. The greatest threat to your morning is not the obvious enemy. It's not the emergency. It's not the genuine crisis. Those are rare. And when they come, you handle them. And no reasonable person would fault you. The greatest threat is the thing that disguises itself as productivity. It's the task that feels like work, but isn't your work. It's the busyness that gives you the sensation of accomplishment without any of the substance. Because here's the trap. Reacting to demands feels good. It feels responsible. It feels like you're being effective. You clear the small items, you answer the requests, you handle the little things, and you get a little rush of satisfaction from each one. And that rush is exactly what makes it so dangerous, because it feels like the right thing while it's stealing the time you needed for the actual right thing. A person can spend their entire best hour clearing small tasks and feel wonderful about it, feel accomplished, feel on top of things, and have moved not 1 inch toward anything that matters. That's the cruelest part of the trap. It doesn't feel like a trap, it feels like virtue. The demands that steal your morning don't come dressed as thieves. They come dressed as duties. They come wearing the costume of responsibility. And because you're a responsible person, you welcome them in. And they eat the hour that was meant for something greater. And you can't even be angry about it, because everything you did was legitimate. Each individual task deserved doing. That's what makes it so hard to defend against. The morning isn't lost to laziness. It's lost to 100 worthy small things that crowd out the one worthy large thing. So how do you tell the difference? How do you know whether the thing pulling at your morning is a genuine priority or disguised distraction? Here's the test I use, and it's simple, though it requires honesty. Ask yourself, is this urgent or is it important? Because those two things feel identical in the moment, but they are not the same. And the confusion between them is what wrecks most people's mornings. Urgent means it's demanding your attention right now. Important means it matters to the life you're trying to build. And the tragedy is that most urgent things are not important, and most important things are not urgent. The important things, the ones that actually shape your future, almost never demand your attention. They wait, they're patient. They don't ring or knock or interrupt, which means if you only respond to what demands your attention, you will spend your entire life on the urgent and never touch the important. The guarded morning is the hour you reserve for the important, precisely because the important will never fight for it. You have to give it to the important on purpose, because the important is too dignified to grab for it the way the urgent does. And this is the whole game right here. The whole difference between a life that arrives somewhere and a life that just runs in circles comes down to whether a person gives their best hour to what's important or surrenders it to what's merely urgent. Do the first, and your year builds towards something. Do the second, and your year is just a long series of urgent things, handled competently, adding up to nothing you actually chose. And you'll be busy the whole time. You'll be exhausted the whole time. And at the end, you'll wonder where it all went. Let me paint you the picture of the two kinds of years side by side so you can see clearly what's at stake. Imagine two people, same abilities, same opportunities, same 24 hours in each day. The only difference between them is what they do with the first hour. The first person surrenders it. Every morning the tide comes in and they meet it. They're responsive, they're busy, they're competent. Nothing goes catastrophically wrong. They handle their obligations, they keep the plate spinning, and at the end of the year, they have exactly what they had at the beginning, plus a little more fatigue. They maintained. That's the word for it. They spent a whole year maintaining a life instead of building one, and they can't quite figure out why they feel like they're standing still, because they were so busy the whole time. The second person guards it. Every morning before the tide comes in, they give the first stretch to the thing that matters most. Some mornings the work is good. Some mornings it's a struggle. But it happens every day because they've decided it's not negotiable. And at first, you can't see any difference between the two people. For the first month, they look identical. For the first 3 months, the difference is so small, you'd have to squint to notice it. But somewhere around the 6th month, the gap starts to show. The second person has built something. It's small, but it's real, and it wasn't there before. And by the end of the year, the gap is not small anymore, it's enormous. The second person has produced something that changes the trajectory of their life. And the first person has produced another year of maintenance. Same abilities, same opportunities, same hours. One protected the first one, and one didn't. And that single difference, repeated 365 times, split their lives apart. This is what I mean when I say the year will take care of itself. I don't mean you can be passive. I don't mean you can ignore the year and hope it turns out. I mean that the year is not the unit of action. The morning is the unit of action. If you try to manage a year directly, you'll fail. Because a year is too big to hold in your hands. It's abstract, it's overwhelming. You can't do anything to a year, but you can do something to a morning. A morning is small enough to grasp, close enough to touch, immediate enough to act on. And when you win the morning, you've won the only thing you can actually win, because the day is made of the morning's momentum, and the year is made of the days. So you stop trying to control the year and you start controlling the one thing that builds it. And the year, without you ever managing it directly, becomes what those mornings made it. There's a peace in that, if you can get hold of it. Most people carry the weight of the whole year on their shoulders. They think about all the months ahead, all the goals unmet, all the distance between where they are and where they want to be, and it crushes them. They lie awake at night, feeling the enormity of it. And that enormity is paralyzing because you can't do anything about an enormity. But the morning is not enormous. The morning is manageable. The morning is a single winnable battle that shows up fresh every day. And when you learn to put down the impossible weight of the whole year and pick up the manageable weight of a single morning, something in you relaxes, and paradoxically, you start accomplishing far more because you're no longer frozen by a burden that was never yours to carry all at once. The year was never meant to be carried all at once. It was meant to be built one morning at a time, and each morning was meant to be small enough that any person, no matter how tired or overwhelmed, could handle just that one. That's the mercy hidden inside this whole idea. You don't have to be extraordinary. You don't have to summon some vast reserve of willpower that will carry you through 12 months. You just have to win one morning, today's morning, the only one that's actually in front of you. And then tomorrow, you have to win one morning again, and it's a fresh one, with fresh strength. And yesterday's success is already behind you, helping to pull you forward. That's a burden a person can bear. That's a battle a person can win. And a person who wins that battle day after day wakes up one distant morning to discover they've built something they could never have built if they tried to build it all at once. So I want to leave you with a question and a challenge, and I want you to actually do something with them. Not just nod and forget. The question is this: what is the most important thing in your life? The thing you would build if you had the time, the thing that would move you toward the life you actually want. Find that thing. Get it clear. Not vague, not general, but specific enough that you'd recognize it if it were sitting in front of you. Because you can't protect a morning for a purpose you haven't named. The guarded morning is empty until you fill it with something worth guarding it for. and that something is the thing you've been telling yourself you'll get to someday, when the time is right, when things settle down. Things never settle down. The time is never right. The only time you'll ever have is the first hour of tomorrow, and the tomorrow after that, and the one after that. And here's the challenge. Tomorrow morning, before the tide comes in, before you touch a single demand, before you let one other person's priority set the tone of your day, give the first stretch to that thing. Even if it's small, even if it's 20 minutes, even if the work you do in that time feels clumsy and slow and hardly worth the effort, do it anyway. Do it not because you'll feel like it, because you won't. And not because it'll be easy, because it won't. But because you are training yourself in that moment to be a person who serves what matters before serving what merely demands. And then do it again the next morning and the next. And don't measure the results after a week, because a week won't show you anything. Measure them after a year, and let the year surprise you the way it has surprised every person who ever learned to guard the front of their day. Because the front of the day is where your life is decided. Not in the grand moments, not in the dramatic turning points everyone talks about, but in the quiet, unremarkable, easily surrendered first hour that passes through every person's hands every single day, unnoticed and undefended. Most people will hand it over. They'll hand it over tomorrow and the day after and every day of the year, and they'll never know what they gave away. Because a lost morning doesn't feel like a loss. It feels like a normal day. And a life made of normal days, surrendered one at a time, is how a person arrives at the end wondering where the whole thing went. It didn't go anywhere dramatic. It went out the door each morning, one first hour at a time, while they were busy answering the demands of a world that would have taken every hour they offered and asked for more. So guard your mornings. Guard them the way you'd guard anything you couldn't afford to lose, which is to say, guard them before the threat arrives, with a decision made once and held firmly. Protected not by force of will in the moment, but by a boundary set in advance and honored without argument. Give the first and best of yourself to the thing that matters most, and give the rest of yourself to the demands that will come whether you invite them or not. Do that, and you will find, over the length of a year, that you've built a life you actually chose, rather than one you merely survived. And you will not have done it through some heroic effort or extraordinary gift. You'll have done it the only way anything lasting is ever done. One protected morning at a time, until the mornings became a year, and the year became a direction, and the direction became a life you were finally proud to call your own.